I'm just happy to have you here with us, whether it's with us live or after the fact during the recording. We're here to talk about the migration process and from TerraFlex InSphere to TerraFlex on Connect. So we are recording this just so you're aware. I've got Dan Colbert here with me from Trimble Geospatial. And on the call, I'm going to answer any questions that I won't be able to that I can't answer, and just fill in. So thanks for being here today, Dan.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So I'm going to just go over what we're going to learn today. I have allotted an hour, but I don't believe we'll need to go that long. We'll see where we get. But what you will learn today are details about the customer migration process, what that entails, what you need to know. We'll talk about the Connect maps, which is what InSphere is moving to. We'll go do an overview of what Connect is, the platform of Connect, and what Connect maps are and how you use them. And then we'll close with giving you some more learning resources so you can feel comfortable getting started with Connect. What you won't learn today is in-depth feature functionality. So like I said, this is an overview, an intro, just so you're aware. Many of you, it will be plenty for you. If you feel at the end of this that you're wanting more, again, we'll point you to some resources on the Trimble community page. But you can also reach out to myself, or if I'm not your representative, you can also reach out to Christine or Doug to schedule an in-person or virtual training to get more personalized training for Connect. Okay. So I've got about 36 slides. Again, I don't think it'll take too long, but I just want to give you a little bit more fleshed out outline. We're going to talk about the migration process, talk about some of the basics of Connect, going through the different workspaces and the hierarchy of that, so you can understand where your data is going and how to manage that best, including the roles and permissions. We're going to look at the Map Workspace, where you view your data, and some of the specifics there with legends and some tools in the template editor. We'll discuss briefly licensing and how that has evolved a little bit with TerraFlex on Connect. And then I will show you the Trimble community resources. So we're going to start with what you need to know about the InSphere to Connect migration. So basically what's happening is that Trimble is upgraded the server that is hosting your data. I want to make sure that you know that this upgrade is free. This process is free. Engaging in moving your data from InSphere to Connect doesn't cost you any money, but it does require you to let us know when you're ready to do that. So we need to establish that date and that timeline and work with you to have that process started. How it will work is that we'll set that date, and you'll let us know that you have fully synced your data to the InSphere platform on that date. And then ideally that will happen on a Friday that you'll let us know, because the copying happens on New Zealand's Monday, which is our Sunday. But we'll allow 48 hours for that data to be fully copied and moved over to the Connect servers. So obviously you won't be doing any data collection until we get back to you and say your migration is complete, your data is there, and you're free to continue collecting. It's important to note that the field app remains the same. The only thing that really changes for you is the back end that we'll be going over today, on the Trimble Connect platform. And I also, last point here, I just want to make sure you understand that the licensing cycle remains the same. If your TerraFlex expires this December, when you transfer over to TerraFlex on Connect, that expiration date will remain the same. Oh, and before I get too much further, if anyone has questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I'll take a peek as I can, but I'll be answering most questions at the end as we go. So you can put them in there as you think of them, and I'll be sure to get to them. Anything I missed, Dan?
Just one thing, Rose. I mean, maybe it would be worth just letting everybody know that that the main reason for us doing this at all at Trimble is just that the Connect platform is an entirely new platform. It has the resources of all kinds of Trimble organizations building onto it. And what that means is that it gives us great flexibility to deliver new, better, faster technology features and everything that our customers have been asking us for. We have a much better ability to deliver on those things on the Connect platform. So we would like you to migrate from InSphere to Connect so that you can take advantage of all of those new features, new functionality, new platform, and new everything basically in Connect as soon as possible. So that's why, as Rose said, that there's absolutely no cost to you to move from InSphere to Connect, and doing so as soon as possible gives you access to all the newest features and some exciting things that we've got coming down the pipe. Will only be available on Connect. So we want you to feel free to reach out to your PLI representative so that you can start this migration process as soon as possible.
Great, thanks. Yeah, I think often people think of Connect, and when we mention Connect, it's in relation to TerraFlex, but Trimble Connect is the larger platform that hosts a variety of Trimble software and services. And so I'll talk a little bit to that when we talk about the folder structure, and that helps to make sense of that highest project folder structure. But this just kind of talks about what Dan was sharing here. It's the platform for a variety of services, and it really gives you the opportunity to expand what you're doing with Trimble. So again, we're going to talk about the projects and the different folder structures. So when you get into Trimble Connect, this is what you'll see when you first get in. And in this example, we have 2 projects showing. And so it's important to know that when we say project, that this is the highest structure. So what that means is that a single project will hold users in groups. So if you define users in groups for one project, they won't be in another project. You can do sharing for folders that are within one project. So if you have different clients, you might have a separate folder for each of your clients, but maybe you're collecting the same type of data for each of those clients, and you make a template that has that information. You can share that template between those file folders for the different clients, as long as it's in this highest project level. And one of the reasons for that, I think, for our smaller organizations, that can sometimes be confusing. Basically, they might just have one project that they call TerraFlex data, or it might just be the name of their company. They might not ever have a second higher level. For our larger organizations, they might have TerraFlex here. They might have a pen map project. They might have 2 organizations, 2 companies under the same umbrella that a GIS representative is working in. And so that's where they might totally separate their data, have different processes for working with different areas of their business, and that's where you would have a separate project. But a lot of folks are working within the project and separating different different work with clients through the folder system.
Yeah, just one thing to jump in there, Rose. I think one of the most exciting and flexible components of Trimble Connect is the idea of sharing, and the idea of being flexible with your organization of your data to allow access to certain users or not certain users, or segregate data between potential clients that you might have. You can share your data directly from Trimble Connect with your customers, even, and if that's available to you. So a lot of those things were not available in InSphere, and they are in Connect. So I think Connect represents a major leap in data organization and user sharing, and access control to various data. So I think Trimble Connect is a giant leap forward from InSphere.
Thank you. Yes, and so we'll talk a lot about those what we call roles and permissions, and how we can set those based on folder and setting those different points of access. So here you see an example. So you're within that one project, and here you have we have 3 different folders: the construction, inspections, hydrant collection, watershed. So how you set this up is going to depend on on your organization. Obviously, for some people this might be by parcel number, this might be by state. But the important thing to remember is that that you do have that sharing capacity of templates within these, among these folders. So kind of like how you're used to managing folders anywhere else, it's the same. You're able to set discrete permissions for users and groups. And then we'll look at the workspace, which is what you'll have within the folder. Roles, users, and groups. So users must be added to a project. You can either give them the admin rights, which would be full access, or user rights, and we'll look at that more specifically here. Sometimes you might have a group of field users and you want them to not have admin rights so that they can't change a template, for example, on accident while they're in the field. And you can easily put them into a group and just assign all field text to your project instead of assigning them individually. This shows you how you can invite users. It's pretty user-friendly interface. Up there at the top, you see the invite button, and it'll give you the option to put in their email. Here, up on the top right, you can import a spreadsheet of, maybe you have a long list of users that you need to invite in to get started with Connect. You can bring that in, or for reporting purposes, you can also export out your groups that have access to certain work that you're doing. There's a closer view of that. The admin, as I said, has full access. You're able to manage users and groups and project settings. A user can do everything but those things. When roles, to configure a new role can be done in 2 places. So when you're adding a new user, you can specifically set that up when you're putting in their email and inviting them to join a project, or you can modify an existing user after the fact. So we can also, what's related to that is setting permissions, and that's something you would do to the folder You can say, well, this folder, only the field users can access this, for example, or only admin can access this particular folder, for example. And so we can restrict who can see something, and also invite other folks in with limited access. Like Dan said, that's one of the pluses. A lot of people want to be able to share their data with clients to visually see what they've collected, and TerraFlex on Connect lets us do that with this.
Well, as it's Christine, I might also comment, what's a cool feature of Connect is that in a way it acts like how Google Drive might. Like in these folders, you can upload other data, not just your TerraFlex data. So if you're working on a field project that's designed for TerraFlex, but maybe there's a shape file or an Excel file that you need to share with all of your, fellow team members that are working on this project with you, you can upload various data files into this folder, not just the Map Workspace. So again, it has more power than InSphere to kind of utilize it as an overall data collection project management tool.
Yeah, that's a good point, Christine. And that data can absolutely be anything. It could be a PDF document of all the access codes to get into a property or something like that. It doesn't have to be spatial in any way. Just like Christine said, it can be absolutely any data that's relevant to the project.
Great. Thank you. So this is just a look at how we add those permissions. Select your folder, and then it goes over there, over by the 1 and the 2, and you can change those permissions. So this kind of goes through, I'm going to limit this folder. I'm going to say this is for my GIS field users only, and they can only read it. Can't edit it. And there you go, simple as that. So the workspace. So this is what you called an InSphere project. It's what we now call a workspace. And the file name, as you see there, is a .tmap. And so when you click on that, that will pull up the viewer in Connect, TerraFlex on Connect. And this is what that'll look like. So this is a little example. You can see up on the left here, you have your layer controls. You can set the background map type. Here, this is showing roads. You can also turn on satellite imagery. And then that plus button we'll look at is where you can add information to the workspace. So this is a little closer view of that information bar there. You have your layers. Number 2 there is, you can see that that particular layer has a template associated with it, which means that you're able to collect information for that, whereas the other layer is just a background layer that you're not able to collect information on. And 4, this one is showing that it's linked, so that means, as we talked about sharing templates between different folders, that hydrant template is also used on another folder, and that's just demonstrating that. You might also see draft there if you haven't published your template for use. Up on the toolbar here, just a quick explanation. You see the name of your map workspace there, selection tools. Number 3 is your to-dos, which is equivalent to the InSphere tasks that will show there. And when you migrate, those would migrate over if you have them. 4 is the export function. And again, at top left, your hamburger menu gives you some more options here, and that's where you can put in your real-time configuration settings. And you can set that up to be available for all projects, or you can set it up to be specific to a particular folder in workspace, Map Workspace. Here is where you can get into the template editor. So on our layer there where we see the template, you can click on that if you want to edit it, and it'll bring up the template editor screen. So on the far left, we see the number 1. It says the template in blue is highlighted there. So to navigate, that will change the screen that you see in front of you. If you click on the 2 and the 3 and the 4, it'll give you different options there. Here on the template screen, you can, rename the template. You can see what you're collecting in there, the geometry settings, and the 2 will open the fields. So right here you see that there's a picture field and there's a manufacturer field. When you click on that fields, that's where you can drag and drop the different fields that you want over. And that's if you're making it in here or maybe just editing it in here. You can also bring in existing geodatabase that are already used, and they will show here. You also have the rules section where you can create if-then situations. If I collect a tree point, then the option to choose, tree type will show up. Otherwise, it would not show up. So you have that sort of functionality.
Christine, again, too, just to add, again, we're talking about the migration. So just to remind folks that, if we're migrating existing data and existing projects, the workspace will be there for every project that you have in InSphere now. There will be a corresponding folder and a corresponding workspace for all of your existing projects, as well as for every there'll be a template already in here. So you might not need to edit it. When we do that migration, it'll all be up here running and existing, but these are the tools that you would use and how they appear differently from InSphere. But again, everything would be migrated over, so you can just keep moving forward collecting.
Right. Right. So back to that main workspace screen here, where we add stuff. Here's shows the options. Again, like Christine said, you'll have these in there, but as you move forward and add new things, you'll have the opportunity to add new templates. You can add an existing template to this workspace, and you can pull that from another folder, like I said, that's within that main project folder. You can import a background file, and you can link to an existing layer. Also, you can create an offline base map, basically selecting an area that you'd like to make available offline for field users. Anything to add there? No?
Nope.
Go ahead.
Sorry, yeah, just a couple of things there that this is again another major leap ahead in functionality from what's available in InSphere. So your ability to add not just layers that you can work with for data collection, but layers that you can bring in for background reference in the web is something new and exciting, and a first step toward some major new functionality for TerraFlex.
Great. Yeah, and so this next slide goes into that a little bit further. So the vector background options. So like I said, you can import from a file or link to an existing layer. And this is where you'll see that. So this is on the handheld in TerraFlex. In the top right, you go to those 3 dots, and you can drop to vector layers to see what layers you have there as that background file. For some folks, it might be like boundary extents, or there's any number of things that you might want to overlay onto your workspace for your field users to see out in the field. Okay, so that brings us to licensing updates. It's not a whole lot different, but just to note that TerraFlex on Connect is available in monthly licenses as well as annual licenses, and that licenses are now managed through the Trimble License Manager. And so we'll take a look at that briefly here. So this is within Trimble Connect, and your project information page up here on the top right, under the little person icon, the profile icon, you can see My Trimble subscriptions there. And this example kind of goes through what to do if you don't see anything here in your plan. So you would need to go to the license manager and make sure. So this might happen if you invite a field user, but they didn't go through the steps of accepting that invite. So first thing is to make sure that that invite was properly sent out and that your users have been assigned properly. And so this is where you do that in the license manager. Often organizations will have one person managing the licenses and for several users, or maybe you'll have new users, come and go as time goes on, and that can all be managed here in one space. You can, resend that email out for folks to see and to access. And so here, this is where you can activate. If you have a monthly subscription, you can activate that from here. So this is where you assign it, put in that email, send it off. It sends an email just like this to the user's inbox. And what they need to do is go through and claim that Trimble account and set up their password if they don't already have a Trimble ID. And so now back on the Trimble Connect platform, that person, when they're logged in, will see that they do have a plan. They have TerraFlex Advanced here. And so that just avoids folks signing in and not seeing that. So that's the process that needs to be done first.
And just to note on that, Rose, with existing InSphere clients, all of your licenses now will get moved over into Trimble License Manager, and you'll see them there, and then you can go through and assign them. That's part of the full migration process. So those licenses will get moved over there, and then you can assign them. I would say it's a lot easier too to add new users and move licenses around. So if you have contractors coming in, maybe only working for a month, they're not locked down to that user. It's easy to take one of your TerraFlex licenses and then add it to a new user email address, or just buy a 1-month subscription for an additional contractor if you're adding, more work just temporarily. So these are some new features to the Connect platform that we didn't have in Sphere that makes getting access to TerraFlex much easier. Also to note, with licensing, you don't need a full license to necessarily access the Trimble Connect platform. You only need a TerraFlex license in order to be accessing TerraFlex Mobile. You could share a project in a folder with somebody outside your organization. They'll be prompted to create a Trimble ID account, but they don't necessarily need a full TerraFlex license assigned to them to have just some of the viewing capabilities.
That's correct. Perfect. Yeah, so this is where you can assign all those users. And again, that's specifically for field users. Sharing, just viewing the data can be shared with just getting a Trimble ID, which is free. Move ahead. So we're towards the end here. I wanted to speak briefly to this portion for our customers who are using the Trimble Positions desktop. There is a convert to connect button, which is a one-time step. I will let Dan speak more to that if there's anything to share more on that.
Yeah, for any users that are using Trimble Positions, which if you're not familiar with Trimble Positions, is an extension for ArcMap that allows you to capture or collect data using TerraFlex in the field and then integrate it directly into an Esri geodatabase. Trimble Positions has its own local projects that need to be reconfigured as part of the migration process. And there's an automated feature in Trimble Positions that allows you to convert an existing project that you have from InSphere over to Connect. And as we move through this migration process, if you are a Trimble Positions user, we'll guide you through the process of migrating each one of your existing Trimble Positions desktop projects over to use the Connect platform. But again, the whole idea is that that we automate as much of the migration process as we can. So we've tried to simplify it down to a single button press in a convert to Connect button in Trimble Positions there.
Great. So like I said, that's a one step. Once you do that, you won't have to mess with it again.
Right, a one and done.
Lastly, I want to share with you about the Trimble community. At community.trimble.com, you can access a variety of resources and also community members who are using the same tools you are. And so it's just a great resource to continue to learn what's available on the platform and see other things. There's videos and tutorials, so you can, if there's anything you would want to review from today or find more in-depth information, that's a good place to start. If you're left feeling like you want more, again, you can reach out to myself, Christine Ixig, or Doug Kotnick to schedule training with one of us as well. Our emails here, if you don't have them handy. I do want to point out that November is the timeline when InSphere is slated to go offline, so don't hesitate to reach out if you do have questions or to schedule your migration. We're here and ready to help you do that.
Awesome. Yeah, and just one last closing teaser, if you will. That again, like I alluded to at the beginning, that moving from InSphere to Connect gives you access to all the latest features and functionality that we're developing for TerraFlex. And one example of that is we've added the ability to capture raw GNSS measurements in TerraFlex in the field, and then post-process them through our Trimble Positions workflow. And that's something that's only available using the Connect platform today. So you have access to do post-processing in the Connect platform. And again, that's not something that you get in InSphere. So more features like that are coming available online here before the end of the year, and we're excited to share them with you. But again, they'll only be available in Trimble Connect. So the sooner you're able to migrate, the sooner you'll be able to use all the latest and greatest.
Great, thank you, Dan. And yeah, and all those features, as you said before, that's just part of being on the Connect platform. You don't pay extra for them as they come. It's just available once you're there. So
exactly right.
Did you want to add anything, Christine?
Nope, that's great. I think you did a great job of giving everybody an overview, and hopefully we'll hear from many customers here soon, because, like you guys said, there's just a lot of added features and benefits, and the migration process is easy. And as Rose mentioned early on, we can typically do it on a Friday over a weekend, so you shouldn't have any downtime if your field crews don't work on the weekends. It's a fairly simple, straightforward process, so there's no reason to delay, and we're excited to get you on to Connect.
Okay. Well, great. Well, thanks for joining us. Please reach out. We're here, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.